hopefully you've managed to install R and RStudio, and we're just going to start by showing you what R can do and just getting you familiar with how to interact with RStudio. Okay, so remember that RStudio is the whole environment we're going to use, and R is going to be the computing power that actually does the statistical calculations. So here's a screen that you can see, and I've already started RStudio. If I want to start again, then I'm just going to search the program, type in RStudio, which should come up, and if I click on open, you'll get a screen come up which is very similar to the one you see here. I've expanded the size of the text a little just to make it a little bit easier for you to see, but you'll see something similar. And all I'm going to do in this video is start working on the left-hand window, this bottom left window. This is the console, and this is, if you like, the direct interface into R. So I can just demonstrate using R just as I would a calculator by typing in 2 plus 2, and of course R knows that this is 4. Very simple. Okay, so this is really we can use R just like a scientific calculator. If we want to do 6 times 8, then of course that's 48. If we want to do division, well, the correct way to do that is with this slash, so 100 over 10. So pretty much just like any other computer system. R will let you do 4 to the power of 3, so 4 caret 3, which of course is the same as writing 4 times 4 times 4. Easy peasy. Okay, so this caret for me is shift and 6 on my keyboard, so 2 squared is 4, for example. So all the standard things you'd expect from any computer language R can do. We can do all the standard functions that we need. So the first thing is there are some constants built in. So if I want to use pi, then that's built in. And this allows me to demonstrate that there are simple functions I can do in pi as well. Okay, so if I want to round pi down to the nearest integer, I'm going to use the floor function. Okay, and I'm going to type in floor, that's the name of the function, and then round brackets, and what goes in the round brackets is the argument to the function. So here, floor takes one argument, which is whatever I want the floor to be, and I've just chosen to use pi. So I could of course put anything I like, so I put 10.12, round that down to 10. Similarly, there's a ceiling function, so if I do the ceiling of 10.12, I get 11, and of course the ceiling of pi is 4. And R will actually help you here. So if I put the start typing ceiling in, okay, then R will actually start telling me everything about this function. Okay, so it's quite helpful. So ceiling takes a single numeric argument x and returns a numeric vector containing the smallest integer not less than the corresponding elements. Okay, too much detail for now, but ceiling rounds things up, and it just takes one argument here, and R is helping me all the time to find an appropriate way to use this function. Okay, so these round brackets are functions, and of course I can take sine of 0, cos of 0, 1, all kinds of things. If I want to take the exponential function, so this is e to the x, well, what do I want x to be here? If I want e to the 1, then I just get the numerical value of e, which is 2.71 or 2.72. So exp is another function that takes one argument. So let's look at logarithm as another function, and well, we can just take log of 5. Okay, but for those of you that have experience of logarithms, you might say, well, logarithms come with a base. Okay, so to what base are we taking the logarithm? Well, if we take log of 5 to the base 10, we see that these numbers are different. Okay, so we have different answers depending on what our base is. So what's going on in this first one? What is the base here? Well, this is actually the same as saying this is log of 5 to the base of e, or exp1, that we saw a little bit earlier. Okay, so what we're seeing here is that if we put a base in, then r will take the logarithm to that particular base. But if we don't put a base in, then r will default to having the base as exp of 1. Well, how do we know that? Well, if I just start typing log, then you'll see that r tells me that this is a function that takes 2 arguments, so log of something, x, and the base here has equals exp1. So what that means is that base is an argument I can give to the function, okay, but by default it has a value. Okay, so in other words, log of 5 and log of 5, where I specify explicitly what the base is exactly the same. Okay, so there's no harm in specifying what the base is. What happens if I just write this? Well, R knows from the order what the arguments are. Okay, so I could write log of 5 with base as the second argument. I don't actually need to tell R that the second argument is the base. I prefer it because it's always clearer, and it is possible to have functions with many more than 2 arguments, so it makes things a lot easier. So I would always specify what the arguments are to the functions, but that's a introduction to functions that have 2 arguments. Okay. So of course it is possible to combine functions, so I can take the sine of a log of 42, and that just means calculate the log of 42 and then take the sine of it in the normal way. So of course this is possible. So very quick introduction to using R as a calculator, and hopefully that was nice and clear.